Welcome back to the John Fourcade Show. This is our special feature each week that we look at two of the top players across college football that either from Louisiana or they'll be playing Louisiana schools. We're going to start right off the bat with one of the top cornerbacks in the nation, Tre'Davious White, junior, 5'11", 195, a young man, 99 tackles, 4 pass interceptions, and he's the guy, John, when they got a top receiver, he's the lockdown corner. And he's done a great job. Reminds me a lot of Marsh Claiborne when he was at LSU. Similar type football player, long arm, quick foot, and he's got ball skills. And he can also return punts. And then that's a big part of, he's not going to play his senior season at LSU. I think he's going to come out early, probably be a first-round pick in the latter part of round 1. But he is one heck of a football player.
Well, that's the big difference when you go to play LSU. You know, week in, week out, year in, year out. You know, you want to let's talk about the guys that go to LSU. Right now, they've got all these DBs. They're also got all these wide receivers, and they also got offensive linemen. You know, they got running backs. So on the offensive side of football, they got a lot of studs and players. And you flip to the defensive side of the ball, they've been getting defensive backs. They got some good defensive linemen. So all these players that come into LSU, they don't last 4 years. They're going to be 3 and done. And this is a young man here who, when they need a spark on defense, if it's in the throwing department, he can get it done. And you're right, he will cover the guy who's the best player on the other side, who's a wide receiver, and he's done a fantastic job all year long. I just am impressed because he loves to go back there and return punts. And that's the thing about kid. He loves to do it. You know, some guys like, man, they put me back there, I go return these punts. I don't want to do that. No, this young man wants to get back there and wants to show people he can return punts. He has done 2 years in a row returning for touchdowns. I love watching him play.
One of the things when you watch him play, he plays cornerback like a wide receiver. He thinks the ball's meant for him. Right. And you know what? You can't teach ball skills. We talked about smarts, but for a defensive back, either you have it or you don't. It's something that a coach can't teach you how to find the football quickly in flight or make that step, turn, hard to get to the football. That's rare, and he's got that type of ability. That's why I don't think you're going to see him back. And he'll be a first-round pick. It is DBU. Everybody pays close attention to it, but he's a guy that is a leader too. That's why he's wearing the number he's got on right now at LSU. So I think that Tre'Davious White, he's a guy with a lot of skills. He needs to physically get a little bit stronger, but he can certainly be a big-time player at the professional level.
You know, he'll get his opportunity when he gets drafted. You know, he said 5'11", 191. I can definitely see him close, 195, 200 pounds when he gets to the next level. They'll teach him a few more things, but overall, he's a quality player that you don't find that often in college football, where he can come in. He's been a 3-year starter, basically, and he's been playing for 3 years, so he's a veteran back there, and he's ready to go off to the next level. But you're right, he does things on the defensive side of the ball that because he feels like he's in the huddle, knows what's coming up, but he breaks on the ball, he understands receivers' routes, and that's all by film study and understanding the defense and the offense.
Another thing too is he'll give you good support against the run, and a lot of cornerbacks won't do that at this stage. Our next spotlight player is Kenneth Dixon. With all the talk about Leonard Fournette, Elijah McGuire at UL Lafayette, and Kenneth Dixon, just look at what he has done at Louisiana Tech. 5'10.5", 215-pound running back, a senior. He's averaging 6.1 yards a carry. Didn't have a great game against UL Lafayette, but he's a guy that reminds me a lot of a shorter version of Matt Forte, in that he's a terrific receiver coming out of the backfield, big, strong runner in between the tackles, has enough wiggle that he can get to the edge, but he's a terrific receiver. And so when you look at his versatility, that'll come in handy for him. But he's a big, strong, sturdy back, and he's been the Bulldogs' go-to guy from his freshman season at running back.
Well, the thing being a running back at Louisiana Tech, we know doggone well they're not a running team. They're a spread, more of a throwing team. But if he can run the football in the situations that he's done so far at Tech, but he also catches the ball out of the backfield. And the way NFLs look at teams now, but if you can get a running back who can catch the football, that is so much in their plus, because the NFL loves to have guys catch the football. Might not be a running back by nature when he goes in the league, but they say, hey man, this guy can catch the football. We'll run him 4 or 5 times again. Sort of like when Pierre was here, just when the Saints, Pierre Thomas, running every now and then, but catch the football. football to do some things. You mentioned he looks like
he's a shorter version of Matt Forte.
Matt Forte, but he's a capable ability guy that can step in there at any moment for you and play. And he's done very well at Louisiana Tech. They got programs out there that look for players that want this kind of athletic ability, catch the ball, run the ball, and special teams guy. And you definitely can see him playing on a Sunday.
All-time leading rusher at Louisiana Tech, 28 touchdowns since his freshman season. So you're talking about a guy, he knows how to find the end zone.
That's it.
And that, to me, in the red zone, you need that big, sturdy guy. He's just got a way, it's hard to knock off his pegs. You know, once he's got that deal, he's really strong heading up to the field. So I think he's going to end up being a top 100 pick.
Wow.
And I think he's that good of a player, and probably looking at a third-round pick for Kenneth Dixon. But, again, he's overshadowed because of Fournette, and then you head out west. Certainly Elijah McGuire has taken a lot of that also from him, but Kenneth Dixon's one heck of a football player.
Well, I mean, if you get the stats, and if he's scoring touchdowns, and you know when you put him in a ball game, and he's just the guy that scores touchdowns for you, who a guy can find that end zone, do the things, the little things for you. And I think people look at that. I'm looking from a standpoint of looking at him, saying, man, if he goes to the NFL, they'll say this guy can do the little things in football. He can run when you ask him to run. He catches the football when you ask him to catch the ball. He's not afraid of pounding in there when he's in the goal line situation. If he's scoring all them touchdowns, there's a reason why he scored a touchdown, because he wants it and he means it and he goes after it. Like you said, if you think he's in the top 3, you know more about that than I do. I hear a little bit about him. I don't see him much because we're down here, but the little bit I hear about Louisiana Tech is, they got a good program there, and they're getting good ball players. They get players drafted at Louisiana Tech, and I don't see why this guy couldn't be one of them.
One of the things in watching that Ole Miss Florida game that popped into my head.
You had to bring that up.
No, because Jim McElwain, what he's done.
Unbelievable.
Because, we talked about, Urban Meyer being kind of the quarterback whisperer, but I think down south in Florida, they have another one. Look what he did at Colorado State with Garrett Grayson. Look what he's done with the kid at Florida, when he was at Alabama, the success he had, and at Fresno State. He's got a way of doing it. But Louisiana Tech had a guy in Jeff Driscoll, who was from Florida, was an absolute flop there. He goes to Tech and become a really good quarterback there.
Well, overall, just real quick on the Florida situation, Florida still has a great defense. I mean, they got
athletes.
They've always had the athlete to play SEC football style defense. If he can just get a quarterback in it, and Will Greer looks like down the road he's going to be their future for Florida.
Yeah, Will's done a great job. And again, the new quarterback whisperers in town, Jim McElwain, and it's made that LSU-Florida game something that you're going to have to watch in a couple weeks. Back more with the John Fourcade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Forward.